Ching ching. Ching ching. Hello from the Amalfi freaking coast. We woke up this morning to the most beautiful view. Let me show you. This is stop number 2 on our little European adventure. We were in Nice, France the past 2 or 3 days. This is day 4 and we're in the Amalfi Coast for the next 3 days, I believe. The actual town we're staying in is Vico Equense. I am for sure saying that wrong, but it is pretty close to Sorrento, but it's a little more north, and it is literally stunning. We have the top of this like beautiful boutique hotel, and it is literally the most beautiful thing in the whole world. But yesterday we had probably the worst travel experience of my entire life, like the scariest. Basically, buckle in. So to start yesterday off, we're in Nice, France, and our Airbnb checkout's at 10 a.m. So we have to store our luggage, and our flight is until 6:05. So we're like, okay, it's hot, we don't have air conditioning anywhere. We were all exhausted, by the way, too, because literally the trash was right underneath our Nice Airbnb, and so all hours of the night, they were like dumping trash, and it was so loud. So we just haven't had any sleep. So by about like 1:30 yesterday, we were like, okay, let's just go to the airport. It has air conditioning, we can eat, we can like regroup, and we'll just wait for our flight. Well, that was mistake number 1, because our flight got delayed by 2 hours, so we didn't end up leaving the Nice airport until 8 p.m., which got us in Naples by about 9:30-ish. And so Naples is probably about like 50 minutes from the Amalfi Coast area, and so you have to take a train or a bus or I guess an Uber, but we planned on taking the train, and the last train we thought was at 11 o'clock. So we had to catch this bus that like took us to the train station from the airport, and then from the bus we were supposed to get on the train, and it was like an hour train ride down to here where we're at. So it's probably like 10 o'clock right now. We get on the bus, and the bus is taking forever. It's just taking a long time to like actually go. We were on the bus for like 15 minutes before she actually like pulled away. And then we got to the train station, and my friend Peyton was like, guys, run, the last train is in 2 minutes. So we have our suitcases and we are running through Naples, which doesn't look like the safest city, especially at night. And we're 4 women, we've never been there, so we were just like, okay, let's be safe. And long story short, we missed the train. So we're trying to communicate with some people at the train station who all speak Italian. None of us do. And so we're trying to find someone who speaks English, and a lot of people would say they spoke a little English, so we were trying to get them to help and ask like, hey, is there any other train that will get us to like Vico Equense tonight? And they were kind of pointing us in all different directions. They're like, oh yeah, blah blah blah, like go downstairs. And so like we would do that, and then like we'd be lost, and the signs are all in Italian, obviously, and so we get lost. And we asked another person, we were like, hey, can we get to Vico Equense? And he's like, yes, down like line 1, blah blah blah. So we get there, and we are running through like, and he's like, leaves in 10 minutes. So we're running through the train station with our luggage, like, and we had all these stairs, like there's so many stairs to go down to where the actual trains take off. So I have my luggage, I'm picking it up, I'm running down the stairs, like there's, and I'm in a dress, mind you, and there's sweat dripping off my body, like dripping. It was so hot, and we're all running and running. Well, we missed all the trains, so we're like, okay, plan B, how are we gonna get there? So we look up Uber, and Uber is going to be like $200, and it was only like a taxi service. There was no like actual Ubers. And then so we tried to find a taxi through Uber, couldn't find one. Like they said, no drivers available. So we asked again, one of the train station people were like, how can we get there? And they're like, there's a bus that goes from Sorrento to Naples. It makes a ton of stops. It might take a long time, but like it will get you there. And we're like, okay, fine. So he gave us vague directions in Italian on like how to get to the bus. So we're trying to get to the bus. Now we're outside of the train station, and it's like nighttime. Like it's like approaching 11 o'clock at this point, and we have all our luggage, and it just doesn't seem like the safest area, let me reiterate. And so I'm feeling pretty panicky and overwhelmed because we're about an hour from our Airbnb at 11 o'clock at night in a city that no one speaks our language, and we're by ourselves. So we see the bus, and apparently like we weren't at the correct bus stop, because he just kind of looks at us and doesn't open his door and then like pulls away. And so we're like running again to chase the bus, like sprinting. And at this point I'm feeling like so overwhelmed. I'm like laughing, but I'm like also crying. So that bus, we were told, leaves at 11, so it's like 10:55 at this point. We're like panicking, running around the city of Naples trying to find this bus stop. We never found the bus stop. So we're like, okay, should we just get a hotel? Like we're starting to all feel very overwhelmed at this point. I promise I'm trying to make this story short, but it's a long story. So we're like, okay, let's just take a taxi. Let's just like take a taxi. So we asked one of the taxi drivers that's just outside the airport. And mind you, we didn't really want to take a taxi because like there's no I mean, I don't know taxis. We don't know if these are legitimate taxis. Like we know nothing. Just getting in a man's car is like scary. So we go to a taxi and then he's like, okay, yes, I can take you, blah, blah, blah. It's gonna be this much. And then we're like, okay. And then we're like, well, let's think about it. So then we keep trying to find the bus. We're like, okay, we go ask another taxi driver where the bus stop is. And he's like, no, the buses are done, like no more buses. And so the original taxi driver pulls up and then they start arguing in Italian. So they're like arguing in front of us and the third taxi driver pulls up and he's like, hey, he's talking in Italian, but he like, the vibes are not it. So they're like arguing in Italian with us just standing right there. And this is where I think we all started to feel like really like scared and like overwhelmed. And so they're like telling us like, we'll take you. And we're like, actually like, let's not. And then they're like, no, we're fine. They're grabbing our bags and we're like, no, grazie, no, thank you. Like, no grazie, we're done, like, bye. And so eventually we left them. We went back into the train station. We're almost on the brink of tears, everyone. And so finally we decide, okay, let's just act assertive. We're gonna go up to a taxi, tell them where we need to go, not look scared, and we're just gonna go and get in the taxi and go. That's what we did. And so we're halfway, so we find a taxi, that's fine. We're halfway to our Airbnb and we notice that the taxi driver is like going off route. Like he missed like 2 or 3 turns. So we're in the back seat and we're also mapping to our destination to like make sure that he is not making wrong turns because we don't know where we're at. And so we're like freaking out. Like in my head, I'm like, this is it. Like this is where we die. He's taking us somewhere in like the Italian countryside and they're gonna sex traffic us. So it turns out the road was just closed and he was taking us a different way.
Hi, are we talking about a traumatic travel experience?
We're on the part where he starts to take wrong turns.
I've been to several countries and I've never been more scared or adrenaline pumping type traumatic situation.
Like like we legitimately were, like I'm thinking in my head, okay, we're gonna have to reach over, crash the car with the wheel, we're gonna run away. I'm serious. So finally he turns around and we make it at what time? 12:20?
Yeah, almost
12:20. And we were supposed to arrive here probably 8:30 or 9 to our Airbnb. Yeah. And some of us had a good cry, some of us slept it off, but it was definitely the most traumatizing travel experience I've ever had. And
we had each other.
We did have each other, but it was not great. So now you're caught up. We woke up here and it's beautiful and our Airbnb is great. And we had a delicious breakfast prepared by our host. And yeah, now we're gonna spend the day exploring and laying in our pool. We have this beautiful pool down there. And yeah, I think you're caught up now. But that was a long 10-minute story, so enjoy. Let's keep the good vibes going. Grazie, grazie. Update, if you are in Sorrento, you cannot swim unless you go to the beach club. Oh no. Lots of walking in Sorrento. Beautiful. Beautiful. Can you see the beads of sweat? Can you feel the fries are burning? Because we sure can. Cha-ching! I am, right? Good morning from the Amalfi Coast. It is our second day here, or technically like third day, but we are going to do like a little boat tour to Capri today, and this is, I feel like, the thing that we were most excited for. We like are taking a boat. It's really early. It's like 6:45 in the morning right now. We didn't get much sleep because we had a lot of bottles of wine at our dinner last night, but we are going to Capri. Also, our dinner, that was the funniest story. We basically like conned ourselves into this like super fancy rooftop restaurant because we just asked like if there was any way to get us in, and the guy was like he was kind of on the fence about it, and then he was like, okay, go upstairs, tell him you're Bellissimo party of 4 and that you don't have 5 people, you're just 4 people. We were like, okay. And so they like wined and dined us. There was like free champagne, tons of free like little appetizer plate things, and it was like one of the best meals ever, and the view was like remarkable, and the service was so good, and it was just hilarious. We couldn't stop laughing because we were like, how on earth did we end up here? That was really fun. Also, there's a literal rooster crowing, so that seems very organic. But we're catching the train to go meet our boat host person in Sorrento, and then they're taking us to Capri from there. So I will take you guys along with me. I just wanted to give you a little update, and yeah, we're super excited. And then I have to Well, I just threw up on the boat. I threw up off the side of the plane again. I threw up off the side of the boat again. Now the boat guide is laughing at me. It's embarrassing. We should choose it. Ching ching. Okay guys, so it is the next day. I didn't talk at all since last morning, I don't think, when we were really excited to go on a boat and go to Capri and all of that. And the boat was literally everything ever, and now we're packing up to leave. So it's been like a long time. Basically, the boat was like probably the most beautiful thing I've ever done in my entire life. Seeing Capri from the water was just like amazing. We got out to swim a bunch, like we were jumping off the boat. It was just so much fun, except for the fact that I threw up not once, not twice, but 3 separate times. To the point where I was not even throwing, like I didn't even throw anything up in the first place. I was just literally like spitting up stomach bile. It was so gross. I just kept, then I would feel fine. After I threw up, I would feel fine for a little bit. And then I would like kind of get seasick again, and I'd be like, oh no, I'm gonna throw up again. And then to the point where I was literally just like dry heaving, and the boat's still going, and the waves are just like hitting me in the face. So that happened. It wasn't like that bad though, to be honest. Like usually I really hate throwing up, and it wasn't like horrible. Like I was like, okay, this is fine. Like still having a good time. But other than that, the boat was amazing. But the problem was when we got to Capri, it was beautiful, but like so busy and so hot. And we only had like it was kind of weird. We had only like 1 hour up at the top of Capri, and then like the bus took us down, and then like there was just too many people. We were so hot. I was still feeling really, really sick from the boat. Like I hadn't recovered yet. So we spent most of the time in Capri, honestly, just like in a coffee shop with AC, and we were just like recovering because it was The boat ride was so beautiful, but it took a lot out of us. Like by the end, I think we were all feeling really sick. We were on the boat for 4 hours in the Mediterranean Sea. So it's like choppy, very choppy. And then after that, we came back here and changed and stuff, and then went to our dinner, which was beautiful. It was right here in Vico Equense. That is where we're staying, and I really recommend staying somewhere like here if you're coming to the Amalfi Coast, because we're not in like any of the really big towns or anything, but the train station is only like a 6 or 7 minute walk from us, and it's like so easy to get into Sorrento, like into wherever you really need to go. We're training back to Naples today to catch our train to Rome, and it's like a third or a fourth of the price. I'll try to link all our Airbnbs down below too. I wasn't the one that booked them, so I don't know if I'll be able to find them, but I think I can do that. So I'll try to link all the Airbnbs down below for you guys. But yeah, so now we are going to Rome. Really excited. It's about 8:30 this morning. They're still down at breakfast. I came up to pack because most of them packed last night, and I am a last minute packer. So came up to pack, and then we're catching the train, like I said, from here to Naples, and then that train takes us to Rome. So we'll probably be in Rome around 1 or 2 o'clock. Rome is currently 103 degrees. So if we thought we were hot here, we've seen nothing yet. So I'm really excited for today, but I think this is gonna wrap up the like Amalfi Coast vlog. So thank you so much for watching, and if you're not subscribed yet, make sure to do so, because the next vlog will be Rome. I think I'm gonna do Rome and Florence together, and then Paris will be its own. We'll see. We'll see how I do it, but there's gonna be more vlogs coming. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll talk soon. Bye.